Greetings, dear comrades. Welcome to Drawing with Boris, with your host, Dimitri. It is joke. I am not Dimitri. I am Boris. In this program, I demonstrate proper artcraft articulation to make the picture of your favorite art piece. Today on the show, we will recreate the figure of Pearl, famed basket case sidekick of popular television program for youth, The Steven Universe. We recreate the figure of Pearl for today in order to understand and learn structure, character design, and to dissect myriad of unrequited love and repressed apoplexy that is Pearl. Now, to begin, we first grasp the artistic apparatus in proper hand and place upon the drawing surface. Do not worry about creating the shape or the gesture of the body at this point, as that would be putting the basket before the babushka. No, dear comrades. At this stage, we do nothing more than create the scribble as means of getting feel for brush. Is this correct feel? No? Then banish the brush. It is no good. Repeat process until correct brush has been assimilated into fingers, and you may begin process of recreation. Next, we shall produce the reference of character for the figure of Pearl as means of holding strict and rigid adherence to staying on model for show, as such practice is necessary to make the figure of Pearl true to form as seen on television program for youth, The Steven Universe. Glance upon model sheet. Study model sheet. Embrace model sheet. Now banish model sheet. It is no good. Art is not prisoner to model. Art is free to soar in blue air sky like majestic marabou stork. We now have reached stage for proper beginning of the drawing. First thing to keep in mind, dear comrades, is the gesture line. Gesture line is almighty meter stick to be used when judging energy of drawing. Do not concern yourself with shape of body at this point. Use gesture line to get a feel of how pose will work on paper. If you mess up gesture line, or if you create inadequate direction of flow, simply banish it. It is no good! And try again. Once adequate gesture line has been created, now it's time for body shape. In particular case Pearl, she has lanky, sad body with feeble noodle limbs incapable of carrying heavy emotional baggage, and a bulbous head engorged with strong feelings of shame and inadequacy. Details are not important at this point, only to grasp big picture of figure on paper. Once this step is complete, take time to look at big picture. Does it capture crushing reality of desperate and unrequited love? Good, now we move on to next step. This, dear comrades, is where we start to add detail to figure of Pearl. Thanks to previous step, we do not concern ourselves with overall body shape, merely finer details of tweaking imperfections. If only all of life had this level of control, yes? During this phase of recreation of the figure, I take extra care to work on face. For the sake of Pearl, face is especially important as it is gateway into soul. As we know from model sheet that we study and summarily banish, Pearl has specific features that we must recreate. We first create necessary survival gem upon forehead, we create long-smelling apparatus of invasive pontification, we then create talking hole of incessant wailing, and finally we create the envy-laden visual sphere balls. Now that face detail has been prototyped, I take a moment to check out the big picture again. For the figure of Pearl, it is important to make sure that face has good structure and communicates a desperate sense of roiling sexual tension. But what if detail does not look correct, I hear you ask? Well, it's simple, dear comrades. Banish it! It is no good! And then try again. Next step is to create a rigid line cage for drawing. Much like previous step, line creation is more for sharpening detail and minute adjustment than it is for spending brain meat power to create structure and emotion. Only hard part here is accuracy of rigid line cage for drawing. It is very imperative, my dear comrades, to create controlled and concise line work. One stroke, one line. Ugh, no good. Yeah, no good. No good! Ah! Yes, as stated before, one stroke, one line. Continue this mantra like prayer. It is your new god, and you must appease your new god or face horrid consequences. Now that you have line work of the attention star direct of a gemstone that is Pearl, the next step is to move to the color phase. Color is important. Some say that color theory is art form all by its lonesome self, and that is true. Does this mean that placing the color of the figure of the Pearl must be difficult? No, do not be the stupid. Instead, we use fancy technology tool to make speed of the process of coloring the figure of Pearl. You see? Easy as peasy. No need to reinvent the Kalashnikov. Knowing handy shortcuts is important to creating good artwork. Now Pearl looks equally as morose, but now in color. With base color created, we must now add the shading. You may say to me, Boris, color base was so easy, with technology tools to make the work go by so fast. Surely the addition of color shading to make picture more pretty can also be easy with use of technology tool, yes? No! There is no shortcut for color shading. Banish that foolish thought. It is no good. Art is pain, and now is time for suffering. Now, shading is a good way to make the two-dimensional image have illusion of additional dimension. In order to successfully create dimensional illusion, first figure out light source. Which direction does light shine? Once line shine is established, use beams to guide the shade around object to create shadow and highlights. If a surface is near light, it is lighter color. If surface is away from light or would be shielded from light in some way, you make surface darker. It is simple mathematics. For figure of pearl, I first start with dark shadows to reflect swirling inescapable depression crushes her soul on daily basis. I make sure to follow with distinct guidance of light source to bathe Pearl's skinny inadequate body with darkness. Next, I move on to simple application of highlight. You'll notice that they use rather simple lighting technique for this particular drawing of Pearl. This is to maintain the simplistic cartoon-like appearance of source material, and also to adhere to her lack of light and optimism in her spurned heart. Oh, poor skinny Pearl. Rose Quartz made her choice. The figure of Pearl nears completions, dear comrades. The only additions needed at this point is minute detail to liven up the picture a bit. And the Lord on high only knows that Pearl desperately needs a bit of livening up, yes? It is a sad existence for Pearl. First, I touch up the deal in headlights visual sphere balls with a bit of light reflection to create further illusion of three-dimensional shape and the cheap facade of happiness and contentment within her life. After that, just a bit of extra shadow on ground for hint of background and reveal of pervading darkness within her soul. And the mission is complete, dear comrades. We have successfully recreated the figure of Pearl from popular television program for youth, The Steven Universe. Thank you for spending time with Boris. And please, use valuable end time to comment below and press important YouTube buttons on screen if you enjoy video and wish to follow channel so that I may feed greedy ingrate children and survive another brutal winter in motherland. Good day, comrades.